Oxidative stress is at the core of all chronic conditions, pretty much no matter what you have. And you can even go on to PubMed, which is the National Library of Medicine, and you can type in oxidative stress and any depression, mental health, psychological disorders. There's actually a paper called Oxidative Stress and Psychological Disorders.
All right, we're here with Jaclyn Downs today. Jaclyn has a master's in holistic nutrition. She is a certified health coach and a certified doula, and is the author of the book Enhancing Fertility Through Functional Medicine Using Nutrigenomics to Solve Unexplained Infertility. Jaclyn is a functional nutrigenomics practitioner that helps clients and practitioners move past puzzling roadblocks and individualized protocols through the use of her 5-star rated genomic interpretations, functional lab testing, and a meticulous intake process. All right. So, Jaclyn, welcome. I'm glad to have you here today. Tell us a little bit about what exactly it means to be a master of holistic nutrition and what all this information is.
Okay, yeah. So in addition to my bio, I also have certification through the Nutrigenetic Research Institute. I combine my holistic nutrition background with genetics, and nutrigenomics is a field that is basically the intersection between nutrition and your genes and how nutrition and toxins affect your genetic expression and how your genes affect how well you can utilize your nutrients. So there's definite interplay there.
That's fascinating because it's different for everybody, I would assume. And then in families, you probably see trends and things like that.
Yes. Yep. Exactly. You got it right.
So tell me how all this plays into mental health.
You mentioned the title of my book. I don't want to turn your listeners away thinking that this is a really wild card. So my book, while it's geared towards the fertility community and fertility practitioners, the whole entire premise of the book is common but lesser known root causes of inflammation and oxidative stress. And oxidative stress is at the core of all chronic conditions, pretty much no matter what you have. And you can even go on to PubMed, which is the National Library of Medicine, and you can type in oxidative stress and any depression, mental health, psychological disorders. There's actually a paper called Oxidative Stress and Psychological Disorders. And so oxidative stress, which I'll define really quick for those that don't know, is the reason why we need antioxidants. So antioxidants help to neutralize and combat free radicals, which are pro-oxidants. And so oxidative stress is when you have too many oxidants and not enough antioxidants to neutralize them. So you really want your body to have a nice balance because we do need some of the free radicals to fight off pathogens, but too many, which we're bombarded with from all sides today, can really cause a domino effect of inflammation and really damage your cells. And that affects your systems and your brain, especially because your brain is very fatty and it's very highly prone to oxidation.
So let me make sure I understand. This oxidation kind of leads to inflammation.
Well, and during writing my book, which is an academically published book by Routledge, I wanted to know because I had heard inflammation causes oxidative stress. And I had also heard oxidative stress causes inflammation. And it's really a vicious cycle.
Yeah.
One feeds the other, feeds the other, feeds the other. And so you really have to just make sure you have enough antioxidants on board and avoid the things that cause oxidative stress, which I discuss in detail in my book.
What is it that, or how much is it that we should be taking of antioxidants?
That really depends on your genes because some people are predisposed to just not making enough antioxidants. Or our body also recycles our master antioxidant called glutathione. Or maybe they're not transporting, or maybe you have so much inflammation from, like, a lot of people heard the term cytokines from COVID, right? A cytokine storm. Those are basically like things that cause a lot of inflammation in the body, these inflammatory proteins. And so you could have just your body could make a lot of inflammation, and that way you're burning through all your antioxidants. Basically, you're like using up all the hose water, right? All the fire hydrant water. Or you could just have an okay level of your things that create inflammation aren't going haywire, but you just don't have enough antioxidants. So it really becomes this balance, but it all comes down to really your diet and your lifestyle on a daily basis. So yes, there are really high performance antioxidants that you can purchase and you can take, and you can even get them through IV at certain clinics and stuff like that. And those are great, but it really comes down to the food that you're putting in your mouth 3, 4, 5, 6 times a day, the toxic exposures, the things we're bringing into our house, the scented candles and all of the detergents and all of the processed food and all of that stuff. Anything that we put in our body, anything we put on our body, like lotions and stuff, and anything that we put our bodies through, like secondhand smoke or radiation, all of that creates oxidative stress and also physical and emotional stress too. So over exercising or being in a toxic relationship or a job you hate or not finding joy in your life, all of that contributes to oxidative stress. And so it's really there isn't a one size fits all, but really like eating a diet that has a lot of fruits and vegetables, whether you want to cook them or have them raw or whatever, that doesn't really matter as much. You just want that eat the rainbow, because the rainbow, the colors in your food has what contain all of the phytonutrients and antioxidants.
Ah, okay. So if someone was wanting to find out, get some genetic testing done and find out what they need to be eating or doing, where would they go? What would they do?
I would recommend that they go to my website, jaclyndowns.com, because there are a lot of genetic interpretation and genetic testing available on the market, but a lot of practitioners are only testing for either MTHFR, which is the most commonly known genetic variant. And I don't know if you have discussed that yet on your podcast, but a lot of people put a lot of focus on that particular gene. And I always titled my book MTHFR as a gateway gene because it's often the first gene that people learn about. And then it introduces them to the concept that your genes really do play somewhat of a role in how well you detoxify or how well you make neurotransmitters. The methylation cycle is really, really big with neurotransmitters. So a lot of
Wow.
people are only focusing on that gene or just a handful of genes or only the genes in the methylation pathway. And there are tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of SNPs. So humans have about 22,000 genes, but each gene could have dozens or hundreds of polymorphisms, which are basically just variants. And
Okay.
so my genetic interpretation, I feel, is the most comprehensive because I'm not just giving you canned responses like a lot of the automated ones. It's all automated. That's why they can do hundreds of thousands of people every year because they're just cranking
Right.
them out because they just have this. If it's this gene, then we're going to type in this answer. If it's this gene, then we're going to say, take this supplement, avoid this form of this supplement. But a lot of times there's contradictions there. So you could have one gene that says, oh, you need to take more of this vitamin, right? And then 3 pages later, you have another genetic variant and it says, avoid this supplement. And it's the same exact supplement they told you to take. So I got
Oh,
tired of
wow.
seeing that. I've had clients bring other interpretation companies' reports to me saying, can you help me make sense of this? And then, first off, they're only looking at like 20 genes, maybe 50 genes or different SNPs. There's a lot of conflicting information. They have never given that company a health history. That company does not know their previous diagnoses. That company doesn't know what their diet is like, doesn't know what their poops are like, or their periods, or their sleep, or their level of anxiety or depression. And then a lot of them are just saying, eat less saturated fat and eat less sugar and move your body more. And you don't need a genetic test for people to tell you that. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
And so I really tailor mine and really personalize it. So I have a meticulous intake form. And then based on that and your symptoms that you write, I sort of go into my genetic software and find the areas and the genes relevant to what you want me to look at and what is going on for you. And then I say, okay, based on this, and depending on which package you buy, you can even send me some lab work. If you've had a neurotransmitter test or if you've had a blood test or any kind of urine or stool test, you can send that to me and I will factor that in to your genetic interpretation. And then I make a video going through your typed up report that I typed up for you and I read it to you as I go through the software and show you what your genes look like and what that could mean and what I recommend. So there's a lot of actionable recommendations. I do take pride that mine is the most comprehensive out there, and it's very, very personalized. It is custom tailored to everybody. And it's not just fertility people. I say my fertility clientele are maybe 50% of my business. So I have a lot of people that have some health challenges and they've been to doctor after doctor, practitioner, and they keep either getting dismissed or they get gaslit or the doctor just throws their hands up and says, I don't know, here, take this drug. And so I really help my clients to get to the root issue of what it could be. And a lot of that is oxidative stress, especially with mental health. Like I said, you could go to Google Scholar, which is a thing a lot of people don't know, and you can just type in whatever kind of mental spiciness you may have, or like, neurodivergence even, or ADHD. There will be papers discussing a causal association or a direct association or, just various studies and reviews. There is absolutely a relationship between oxidative stress and or inflammation and psychological disorders.
Okay. And so if someone were to come to you and have this all done, what is the outcome of that? You recommend a diet or certain vitamins, things like that, and then do you see great improvement?
Yeah, you can see that with all of my 5-star reviews of the various ways that people received benefit. And people are coming to me for various reasons, but I don't do meal plans. Do not come to me if you're expecting me to give you a specific diet to follow. The
Right.
genes can tell you maybe if you have predispositions for autoimmunity or for celiac or peanuts or dairy or something like that, or oxalates, or histamine, but it's not going to say do this diet and eat these foods. I might mention actually, I do mention often, like eat more of this food, like cruciferous veggies, because they can help your liver detoxification. Or, this food is rich in antioxidants. Like broccoli sprouts are my number one favorite thing to recommend because they have they activate NRF2, which is basically this really cool substance that is involved in every single antioxidant and detoxification reaction in our body by like a lot. It exponentially higher amount than any other food that has been tested. So broccoli sprouts, they're usually right next to your alfalfa sprouts in the grocery store, or you can sprout your own, but something just so unassuming. Like, yeah, people know
Right.
sprouts are good for you, but they're tremendously good for you.
Yeah, I did not know that, and I like sprouts, so that's good news for me. Is there anything that you'd want to leave our audience with today to just let them know?
Stress, if you can find some joy in life that helps to alleviate some stress or change your perspective on it, that is going to be a huge game changer and something that I highly recommend that you put a lot of focus and intention into, because it will affect your genetic expression. Because just because you have a certain genetic variant doesn't mean that it's expressing. But stress of all kinds, oxidative stress, but also just daily mental stress and depression and anxiety, can absolutely turn on bad genes. And so finding something that brings you joy, especially if it involves physical movement, I think is going to be the foundation. I have to make sure that schedule it if I have to. I'll go out on a roller skate. I love roller skating, or I'll go out on a bike ride, or I'll hang out with my friend from college, even though she lives an hour away, just because after I do it, I realize how much more grounded and calm and less reactive with my family that I am. I think that would be, find something that brings you joy and that can help to mitigate your stress, because we can't just lower stress, right? That
Right.
we have to figure out ways to manage it or dissolve it or diffuse it.
That made me come up with another question here. You were mentioning that depression could turn on or the expression of something that you have genetically.
Mhm.
Can it do the reverse? Like if you were to get help and find calmness and joy and that kind of thing, can you turn off those expressions or is it too late then?
I believe you can, because you have two main branches of your nervous system, right? You have your fight or flight, which is your sympathetic, and you have your rest and digest, which is rest, digest, repair, reproduce. And we want to be in the parasympathetic state so that our body is calm and we're only in fight or flight when we need to be. But most people in modern society, that right, that tiger's not stopping chasing us, right? We're constantly in fight or flight. Our body reacts the same way that it did a couple thousand years ago to stress. It doesn't know that, it's not a tiger chasing us. It's we're late for a meeting, right? And
Right.
so, yes, by stimulating your parasympathetic nervous system, you're calming your body and you're putting your body into a healing state. So 100%, yes, absolutely, we can change the expression of our genes for the better.
That is great news. Well, thank you so much. This has been really interesting. I appreciate you coming and I hope you have a great weekend.
Thank you. You too, Amy.
Thanks. Wow. What an enlightening conversation we had today with Jaclyn. We delved deep into the world of holistic nutrition, nutrigenomics, and how our genes interact with our diet and lifestyle. Jaclyn shared some profound insights into the connection between oxidative stress and mental health, as well as tips on how to manage your stress for better genetic expression and overall well-being. Thank you so much, Jaclyn, for sharing your expertise with us today. Listeners, if you want to explore more about your genetic makeup and how it affects your health, make sure to visit Jaclyn's website, jaclyndowns.com. That's spelled JACLYNDOWNS.com. She's got some fantastic resources there that you won't want to miss. If you enjoyed this episode, please take a moment to rate, review, and share it with your friends. Your support helps us bring more inspiring guests and valuable content your way. Stay tuned for our next episode of Advancing with Amy, Mental Health Warrior and Neurospicy Mama. And until then, keep advancing, warriors.